Say it ain't so, James. Say it ain't so. Okay, people, breaking news to share with you all. James Wade, the head coach and GM of the Chicago Sky, is ditching the Chicago Sky and the WNBA to head over to the NBA to be an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors. This was literally just announced today. Shout out to Annie Constable of the Chicago Sun-Times, who announced this today at 1:42 p.m. on Twitter. So if you're anything like me, you're probably going, what happened? Well, we're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about who James Wade is and kind of what he's meant for the Chicago Sky team. James Wade has been with the Chicago Sky for 4.5 years as the GM and head coach of the team. He's one of the rare coaches who is still also a GM in the WNBA. He actually has come from the Cheryl Reeve tree with the Minnesota Lynx, and he came over to the Chicago Sky, and has really turned our team around. During his tenure, he had a record of 81-59 with the Chicago Sky, and he's really shown to be a GM wizard at times. He got Candace Parker to come to Chicago in 2021 and got us the championship. Last season, he also did it again in terms of the offseason. He got Emma Mieseman and Julie Alleman to join the Chicago Sky. He also nabbed a gem of a overseas player in Rebecca Gardner to come to the league and really light it on fire as a 30-year-old rookie last season. Yeah, the Sky didn't win a championship last season, but we had a championship level roster, and it was due to James Wade's work as a GM. And one thing that we do know is that, if you ask most WNBA coaches, do they want to coach in the NBA? Most of them would probably say yes. That's not a surprise. The NBA brings more money. It brings more future opportunities. It brings a bigger platform. So, yeah, it makes sense for James Wade to be interested in coaching in the NBA. This past offseason, James Wade visited 4 NBA teams, the Bulls, 76ers, Trailblazers, and Celtics. And here's what he had to say about his experience. I saw how they did shoot-arounds and different player development things. I keep in constant contact with some NBA coaches. You get coaches with 30 years of experience, coaches who played in the NBA for 20 years, and they tell you their experience and how they've seen teams get better. James Wade also participated as part of former Jazz coach Quin Snyder's Basketball Africa League Combine coaching staff. So yeah, he's had some experience, engaging with the NBA in some level. But even with all of that, he was adamant that the Chicago Sky was his priority, right? And last month, James Wade talked about the future of the Chicago Sky and their search for a practice facility, which he was kind of leading that process. In May, James Wade said, I want to be like Spoelstra and Popovich. I want to, but that's up to Michael, meaning Michael Alter, the owner of the Chicago Sky. I want to be an old man with white hair like Pop, going bald, and people will say, that's the dude from the Chicago Sky with the sandwich named after him. I love Chicago, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. This is my favorite city in the entire world. So, yeah, after all of that, James Wade basically saying that he intends to grow old with the Chicago Sky, it made me feel, and a lot of other fans of the Chicago Sky feel like James Wade wasn't going anywhere, at least anytime soon. He had a contract up until 2025, so the assumption was if he was going to go anywhere, he would leave after that. But after sort of saying that he intended to stay with the team, it's a bit of a shocker for him to then leave the team. So, of course, we were very wrong in thinking that he would stay. But again, we ask, what happened? And here's where I speculate. I think that James Wade probably started to put feelers out after the Sky got bounced from the playoffs last season. I also think that his mental health possibly had something to do with it. We all know that James Wade has had a very, very, very contentious relationship with the WNBA refs. They're historically bad. A lot of coaches have been talking about how terrible the refs are, but it feels like it really hit James Wade tougher than some other coaches. Lately, he just seemed very worn out. Very, very, very worn out. And at a recent post-game press conference, here's actually what he had to say about that.
And so I'm sorry if I'm not happy and I don't answer the questions the way you want me to answer the questions. But this is tough. It's really tough. All right. We talk about mental health and all this stuff. Well, think about ours. Okay. We want the game to be fair, but it's nothing you can do when somebody embellishes and you don't see it. I'm sending in 25 calls a game, like 25. And Elena's not a big name, not yet. Neither is Robin Parks or Dana or anybody that played today. And so sometimes, I mean, we're all human, and I'm not talking about any group or anything, but like I'm just emotionally drained.
So yeah, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I wonder if him becoming an assistant coach has anything to do with him trying to lessen his stress levels. Yes, the NBA is a bigger platform, but in his new role, he will just be an assistant coach, not a GM and head coach. And I wonder if that will help him mentally, and maybe that's why he's decided to leave the WNBA. So yeah, again, James Wade is going to the Toronto Raptors as an assistant coach. And so what now? As you remember, James Wade, he traded this guy's future away, getting Marina Mabrey on the team last offseason. Next year, our first, second, and third round draft picks are gone. Also, our second round draft pick in the 2025 draft is gone as well. We traded all of that and more for Marina Mabrey. So yeah, our future is sort of wavy a little bit. So yeah, this is going to be kind of tough for a new GM to navigate around and ensure that the Sky is competitive for years to come with no actual new blood coming in through the draft. In the interim, assistant coach Amir Johnson, I don't know if I'm saying his last name wrong, right? I'm probably saying it wrong. He will take over as the interim head coach. Amir is no stranger to the Sky. He's been an assistant coach since 2018. If you remember, this was way back when Amber Stocks was the head coach of the Chicago Sky. Last season, when James Wade was out due to COVID for 2 games, Amir served as the interim head coach for those 2 games, and the Sky won those games. So yeah, that's the news, folks. As you all know, I am a big Sky fan, so this comes as a big, big blow, especially because we're in the middle of the season. I have come to really like James Wade as a coach for the Chicago Sky, and I think he's really helped to transform our team into literal WNBA champions. But I do think he's made some mistakes. I do think he kind of messed up in the negotiation stage and getting us Marina Mabrey. Don't get me wrong, I love Marina Mabrey. I've been a fan of hers when she was with the Dallas Wings. I'm still a fan of hers now with the Chicago Sky. I just think we gave away too much for her. She's a great player, love her, but I think we gave away too much, especially giving away the first round draft pick for next season. As we know, the drafts for these next 2 years is going to have some big names in it. And the Sky need to be in the mix. But unfortunately, we will not be in the mix because he has traded those away. I'm sure he had a master plan for him, trading the farm away for Marina Mabrey. But now that he is gone, we won't be able to see what that master plan was and how he was going to see that through and have us still be successful in the coming years with no draft picks. So that's a bummer. James Wade told the team today, he told players today that he is leaving. And I'm sure players are probably very, very pissed off by this news. They've grown with James Wade as a coach. And now he is peacing out. So it's just a big bummer. It's just a really, really big bummer. In terms of coaching, I really like Amir. He seems to be a good assistant. I've never interacted with him or anything, but I have seen him on the bench for the last several years. And just watching him and watching all the other assistants, they're just really good at their jobs, and they're very vocal. And I think he will be able to kind of pick up where James Wade has left off. I'm not totally sure if he's 100% ready for this new level of responsibility, but I'm really hoping that the Sky players, namely, Courtney Williams, Kalia Copper, and Marina Mabrey, really rally around him and ensure that the players are bought in and ready to work for him. Amir's first game will be this Sunday. I'm also wondering about how long it will take James Wade to become a head coach in the NBA, because clearly that's now seems to be his goal. My guess is he'll probably be a NBA head coach in probably 4 years or so, but we will see what happens. Yeah, that's the video, guys. What a day it has been in the WNBA. We got Gabby Williams news, her returning back to Seattle. Now we have James Wade leaving the WNBA for the NBA. Whew, I just need to take a breath, because this has been a lot. This has been a lot for WNBA fans. But yeah, I want to know what you all think about all of this. Did you think this was inevitable for James Wade to leave the WNBA for the NBA? And if you did think it was inevitable, did you think it would be during the middle of the season? I thought it was likely that he would leave the NBA, like to the WNBA, to go to the NBA, but I definitely didn't think it would be this season and right now. What do you think caused him to look for another position? Was it the terrible refs, or was it something else? Also, let me know what you all think about how this affects the Sky in their roster. Like, do you think the players will kind of just shut down and just be like pissed off for the rest of the season? Do you think they'll rally around new head coach Amir to really ensure that the Sky still make the playoffs and still have a decent run in the playoffs? I do think that the Sky will still make the playoffs. I don't think this changes that much. But we will kind of see what happens from here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I wish James Wade the best. I really like him as a coach. And I think he's really helped the Sky out and helped elevate the Sky. I wish him the best. I just wish he would have chosen a different time to do this, like at the end of the season. But I get it. The NBA is in its off season right now, and they need to kind of firm up next year's coaches. So I get that, but I'm also kind of bummed at the timing of this all. But yeah, that's the video, everybody. Big shout out to Chicago Sun-Times reporter, Sky reporter extraordinaire Annie Costabile for a write-up sort of talking about James Wade leaving. I'm going to leave a link to her article in the description below. So if you want to read that, you can go there and read it. Highly recommend you read it, because it's a great article. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please like this video, please subscribe. And yeah, Sky fans, let's be bummed out in the comments together. Let's share our feelings together and talk about like what this means to us. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, guys. Bye.